Hey, what's up YouTube? Today we're going to be replacing the headlights on this 2014 Ford Edge. You can see here we have a driver's side headlight out. Instead of just replacing the driver's side headlight, we're going to be replacing both headlights with better than stock bulbs. I've got a link in the description to this video for these exact bulbs. In order to get access to this driver's side bulb, you need to come over here behind this housing and remove this piece right here by just twisting it off. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. Just get a finger under this tab here. Twist it off. And make sure you get a good grip on it while you're loosening it, and don't drop it all the way down there like I just did. And now you have access to the bulb back here. Once that cover is removed, let me see if I can get you in a little closer. Our bulb is literally right in front of the camera. You can see the connector there. This is what it's going to look like right in the packaging here. That's what it's going to look like and feel like. You got this elbow here. Just get like 2 fingers in there, twist that counterclockwise, and you'll be able to pop that bulb out. You'll need to wiggle it free. Take your time. It's a little bit like a Chinese puzzle getting that out, but that's it. And this is what the whole piece looks like when you're sticking your hand in there to feel it. And it's got this blue connector at the end, a blue and gray connector. Just want to make a quick note here. There's only one way for this bulb to go back into its housing, because you have these 3 different tabs and each one of those is a different size. So it fits specifically like a kid's puzzle where you can only put specific shapes in. It's only going to go in with those specific tabs sticking out. So you'll want to remember the orientation in which you took it out, where this elbow was, or how it felt like it was in there once it started coming out. Don't try to force this back into the housing. Know that it has to feel a certain way before you can lock that back in. This next step is probably the most important step, and that is to not touch the bulb at all with your fingers. You don't want to touch the glass part at all with your fingers, because any oil residue that's left on that bulb will significantly wear out the lifespan of this bulb, because it'll keep heat in that one specific area where those oils are on that glass. The heat will build up there and it'll kill your bulb a lot faster than you'd like. If you want your bulb to last a long time, put some latex gloves on now, or just be super careful not to touch the glass with your fingers. To remove this connector, you just want to push that gray part, push this gray tab away from the bulb, and then you can pull that right out. You can wiggle that free. And here's our new bulb, and you can see those tabs are exactly the same as the old one. So it's only going to go in a specific way. Snap that new bulb in. Just make sure the bulb is facing away from that snap connection. Push down until you hear it click, you know it's in there, and then we can start routing this bulb back into place. Here's a pro tip for you. When you're reinstalling the bulb, you're gonna want it to be roughly straight up with the connector back into the housing, and then you're gonna rotate it clockwise in order to get it to lock in to the housing. So again, it's roughly right here, and you can feel that all 3 of those different size tabs sink into that housing. It's gonna feel really tight. Rotating that, just make sure you can feel that all those tabs are in that housing and not sticking out. And the one issue that I saw happening was that the wiring inside the housing sometimes can get in the way when you're reinstalling that bulb. So make sure that is not the case. Make sure the spot where this is getting mounted back is free of that wiring. And I really can't stress this enough. Make sure you do not touch that bulb glass, and try not to get it to touch anywhere on these other dirty surfaces as well. So we're going to root that back in. It's going to be super tricky, so take your time. It's not perfectly straight. It actually tilts a little bit toward the driver's side, toward the outside of the vehicle, just outside of being straight. Again, sink that into the housing and then turn it clockwise. That's seated. It's not much clockwise. It's just a boom and it's locked. And then you can put this back on, and this just rotates clockwise. Just keeps all the elements out of that housing. That locks into place. All right, now I'll turn the headlights on so you can see the difference between the 2 sides. I think you could actually tell this is coming up a lot brighter than that side. This is almost blown out on the video. That you can still see is dimmer. Oh yeah, a lot more white on this side. Yellow here, not as bright. So there is a huge difference between those two bulbs. Now the passenger side is pretty much the same. Counterclockwise to remove that housing. Twist that right off. To remove this bulb, it's the exact same procedure. Everything is counterclockwise to remove either the housing or the bulb. Twist that left. Now it might be caught on some wiring, so take your time, because this is already free of the housing, but there was some wiring in the way holding it from completely coming out. The wiring could get twisted in that housing, so just be aware of that. Take your time, slowly take it out of that Chinese puzzle. Now this specific bulb was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It wasn't blown out. You could keep this as a backup in the glove box in case you have a headlight that goes out. Having a backup in the glove box is not a bad thing. There's no reason to throw out this bulb. It works perfectly fine. Just make sure you separate the bad bulb from the good bulb, because you don't want to save the bad bulb in your glove box. Okay, so new bulb. Again, don't touch that glass at all with your finger, or touch it on any of the dirty parts in this engine bay. Bulb goes away from the clip. Snap that into place. When we stuck our hand in there before, we could feel that the housing was like this, which means that when we pull it out, the housing is going to be somewhere like straight up or a little bit to the right when you go to feed it in, because you're going to need that extra little bit to twist it to that lock position, and that lock position was like this. What you could do in the meantime is take that bad bulb and you can feed it in there to get a feel for where it needs to be. Yeah, and it's literally, the connector is straight up. It needs to be fed just like this into that housing, and that locked position will be like that. So feed it back into the housing like that to get all the tabs to match, and then just rotate it clockwise a little bit to lock it into place. You want to make sure all those tabs are in that housing and you don't have it crooked or anything like that. You want it to be completely flush into the housing, all these tabs recessed into it, and then twist that. You should feel a little resistance when you go and turn that clockwise, not much, and then it locks into place. It's literally locking into place like that. And you can actually see the broken bulb here. Let's see if I can, see that? If you mix the two bulbs that you just took out, you can tell which one doesn't work pretty easily. Our new bulb is in. Grab that back cover for the housing, lock that into place. Make sure all your wires are tucked in there, because they could stick out. Make sure all your wires are in there, and then put this cover on and lock that into place by turning it clockwise. All right, let's double check and make sure that bulb works. So we have two working bulbs before we close everything up. Awesome. Two bright bulbs installed into this, I call this a projector housing, and that's it. Don't forget to save the extra bulb if you just replaced one. Toss it in your glove box. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out. I'll catch you in the next one.